Let me tell you why Wall Street absolutely bullying Netflix stocks could be a really good opportunity. So it's obvious that Netflix is in like a downward trajectory over the last 6 months. They're down like 30%. But during their earnings call yesterday, they beat their EPS, they beat their revenue numbers, and they increased subscriber growth. Why is everyone hating on Netflix then? One of the big issues is how Netflix is trying to buy Warner Brothers. Netflix initially made an offer to Warner Brothers with half stock and half cash, and then Paramount came along with a hostile deal takeover and offered even more money. Now, to sweeten the deal, Netflix offered an all cash offer. And why investors don't like this is because in order to come up with all that cash, Netflix has to pause share buybacks. And investors don't like that because share buybacks is what usually keep the price of the stock propped up. The second issue is that during that earnings call, management warned that earnings growth for 2026 might slow down to like 12 to 14% compared to that 17% we saw in 2025. And you know investors hate the word slowdown. And you can see that by this chart here. So from the beginning to where we are today, there's a really sharp increase in revenue. But then after that point, it kind of starts to flatten out and slow down. Now, the revenue is increasing, but it's increasing at a decreasing rate. But Netflix as a stock has been doing pretty well. They just have a few areas where they fall off and then pick right back up, and their revenues are growing. One way you could see if Netflix is worth buying is looking at their PE ratio, which means their price to earnings ratio, which is how much you pay for every dollar of earnings. Right now, their PE ratio is around 36. And historically, it was usually around the 47 range. So it's definitely a lot lower than it used to be, which indicates the stock might be cheaper. If you look at the forward PE, which is essentially using future earnings to determine what the PE ratio is, it's even lower at 27, which for a tech stock is super, super cheap. I personally picked up some Netflix share today, so I'm curious to see how it's going to do. If the Warner Brother deal goes through, this stock is going to do so well.